Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hi, welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have another great show for you tonight. I'm happy to interview my friend Takashi Okanuma, who lives in Japan. We're interviewing him in Japan, and he'll be talking about the upcoming second International Hemp Environmental Forum. Takashi organized the first back in 2016 in Kyoto, Japan, and I'm en route to the second International Hemp Environmental Forum in Bangkok, which starts on December 30th. I'm coming to you from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, where I've been for the Jalisco Cannabis Cup, where we judge some of Mexico's finest cannabis. It's a hard job, but someone's got to do it. I'm on my way now to Medellin, Colombia for Expo MediWeed. It's the 5th Expo MediWeed, and my opportunity to go for the 5th time to make a PowerPoint presentation there. I'll give my presentation on humans' symbiotic coevolution with cannabis over the past 25,000 years. For Medellin, Colombia, I will travel directly to Bangkok, Thailand for the second International Hemp Environmental Forum, and we'll be talking to Takashi Okanuma about that in our show tonight. But first we have our hemp news segment. So stay tuned. As we always do, we'll bring out our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
All right, this is our hemp news segment tonight. Earlier this week on Monday, Oregon's Governor Kate Brown announced that she is issuing a pardon for Oregonians who've been convicted of simple marijuana possession. The pardon is for people convicted of possessing 1 ounce or less of marijuana before 2016 when they were 21 years old or older. Brown's pardon applies in cases where possession was the only charge and there were no victims. The pardon will remove 47,141 convictions for possession of 1 ounce or less of marijuana and will impact approximately 45,000 people, Governor Brown's office said. The move will also forgive more than $14 million in fines and fees associated with the offense. In a statement, Governor Brown said, quote, "No one deserves to be forever saddled with the impacts of a conviction for simple possession of marijuana, a crime that's no longer on the books in Oregon," end quote. The decision to issue the pardon, Brown said, was in a statement represents an effort to right the wrongs of a flawed and inequitable and outdated criminal justice system in Oregon when it comes to personal marijuana possession, end quote. According to the governor's office, the pardon applies only to state-level convictions because the statewide judicial database used by the Oregon Judicial Department doesn't have access to locally operated city and county, municipal, or justice court records. In addition, President Joseph Biden's recent pardon of simple possession of marijuana convictions doesn't overlap with any of the convictions pardoned by Governor Brown because Biden's pardoned only federal-level possession of marijuana convictions. Brown's pardon applies only to state-level convictions in Oregon. Our next story is about a national poll, the Gallup poll, one of our biggest pollsters. The percentage of Americans who say that the use of marijuana should be legal remains at a record high, according to new nationwide polling data provided by the Gallup organization. 68% of respondents endorsed cannabis legalization, the same level of support reported by pollsters in 2021 and 2020. Majorities of nearly every subgroup surveyed expressed support for legalization. An overwhelming majority of Americans have consistently opposed our failed prohibition of marijuana for years now, and it defies common sense that our elected officials at the federal level have yet to take any meaningful action. Voters of every age in virtually every region of the country agree that marijuana should be legal. It's well past time that Congress finally takes action to reform our nation's laws to reflect the people's will and regulate our disastrous prohibition policies to the trash bin of history. In 1969, when Gallup first began surveying the question, only 12% of Americans backed marijuana legalization. In 1996, when California voters became the first state in the nation to legalize cannabis for medical use, 25% of Americans said that marijuana should be legal for those ages 21 and older. Since 2012, when Colorado and Washington became the first two states to legalize marijuana for adults, public support for legalization has risen nationally by some 20 percentage points. Legalization's enjoyed majority support among Americans since 2013. The Gallup poll comes just days after the release of other national polls, including by Fox News and Monmouth University, showing similar strong support for marijuana legalization. You can read the full results of the Gallup organization's poll at gallup.com. That's GALLUP.com. Just over a week after we saw midterm elections where voters in two states legalized cannabis for adults, Congress has approved the Medical Marijuana and Cannabidiol Research Expansion Act. The act seeks to facilitate the federal approval of cannabis-specific scientific research and development. It was approved by unanimous consent in the Senate after initially being blocked by a single senator in September. The bill will now go to the President's desk for his anticipated approval. The vote marks the first time that both chambers of Congress have advanced a standalone piece of legislation loosening federal marijuana prohibitions. The act provides the Office of the U.S. Attorney General with 60 days timeline to either approve or deny the applications from scientists wishing to engage in clinical trials involving the use of cannabis by human subjects. Protocols must first be reviewed and approved by both the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and by the National Institutes of Health prior to the Attorney General's authorization. Those agencies do not have an explicit timeline which to complete their review. The Act mandates the U.S. Attorney General to solicit applications from those seeking to grow cannabis for either research purposes or for purposes of potential drug development, and it provides a timeline for the Attorney General to approve those applicants. It also calls upon federal agencies, including Human Services, to provide a report on the potential therapeutic effects of cannabidiol or marijuana and on serious medical conditions. Under current regulations, U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration is primarily tasked with reviewing and licensing marijuana cultivars, as well as granting Schedule I licenses to scientists wishing to study cannabis in clinical settings. In 2016, the agency announced that it would expand the pool of federally licensed growers beyond just the University of Mississippi, which was initially granted a federal cannabis cultivation license in 1968. In May of 2021, the agency announced that it had reached an agreement with a handful of third-party applicants to allow them to grow cannabis for use in federally approved clinical trials, but progress toward these official partnerships has not materialized. For decades, scientists wishing to work with marijuana have complained it often takes years before their research protocols are approved by the Drug Enforcement Administration, and that the quality of cannabis provided by the University of Mississippi's cultivation program is inferior and is not representative of the products available in the state legal markets. In response to those complaints, House members, led by Portland, Oregon's own Representative Earl Blumenauer, earlier this year passed legislation H.R. 5657, the Medical Marijuana Research Act, permitting authorized scientists for the first time to access cannabis flowers and other products manufactured in accordance with state-approved marijuana programs. However, those explicit provisions were not included in the Medical Marijuana and Cannabidiol Research and Expansion Act. While the Expansion Act is a step in the right direction, the limited variety of cannabis cultivars accessible to federally licensed researchers does not represent the type or quality of cannabis products currently available in legal statewide marketplaces. In fact, nearly one half of U.S. adults have legal access to these multitude of cannabis products, but our nation's top scientists do not. It is the height of absurdity and highlights the need for continued legislative action if we want more easily studied the state legal products that millions of Americans are actually using. While the significance of Congress passing the first standalone cannabis policy reform bill should not be overlooked, in truth, we don't need more research to know definitively that prohibition is a misguided and disastrous policy. That said, this is legislation certainly a step in the right direction that shows that there can be bipartisan cooperation on this issue. We commend Senate Majority Leader Schumer for prioritizing cannabis policy and eagerly look forward to the passage of even more substantial legislation before the end of this year in the current legislative session. That's the end of our Hemp News segment tonight. Our interview with Takashi Okanuma starts in just a moment. If you or a loved one are looking for help finding a doctor to get a medical marijuana permit, then you should call our office at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Here's Takashi Okanuma, and tune in for more Cannabis Common Sense and help us restore hemp. Good night.
Well, I would like to introduce an old friend, Takashi Okanuma, who is in Japan and is the founder of the Japan Hemp Association and now is their auditor. But it's great to see you again, Takashi. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm fine, and great to see you. And thank you very much for inviting me for this, and it's a big honor of mine. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
It's a great honor of mine. I'm so happy to have you as well. I got to say that I attended your event that you spearheaded and put enormous amounts of work into at the main convention center in Kyoto, Japan, back in 2016, July of 2016. And I think it was an incredible success and one of the best events I've been to. You know, I go to a lot of events, but that event still stands out in my mind as one of the best cannabis events I ever attended. And I want to thank you.
Wow, such an honor to hear. Wow.
But
thank you very much.
Incredible. The family that produces hemp for the Japanese imperial family was there. The head of the is it the Niki clan?
Yeah, Imbe clan. He's a Mr. Miki from Imbe clan. Yeah.
Imbe clan, and they have been producing hemp for the royal family of Japan for over 1,300 years.
Exactly. Yes.
And hemp is one of the sacred plants in the main spiritual practice in Japan, Shinto. And hemp and rice, I think, are considered the two main sacred plants. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So how did you become involved? When did you first were drawn to this? And tell us about your feelings and about hemp's ties to Shinto spiritual practices.
Okay, I see. At the beginning, when I noticed about hemp, it was more for industrial usage and also environmental impact that I learned from Emperor Wars No Growth, as you know very well.
Yeah.
That's the first book I read about hemp in positive positive side.
Right.
Then at the time I didn't know about the relation between hemp and Shintoism at all. Then I've been asking to many people, but nobody told me the right thing at the time. And then it was German guy living in Japan talked about the hemp history in
Is
Japan.
that Joe Wine?
Yeah, you know that, you know him
Yeah.
exactly.
He
Yeah.
gave me one of my first volcano vaporizers.
Ah, yeah. Wow, didn't know that. Yeah, that's Joe. Exactly. So he was talking about some place in Nagano Prefecture, uh, where the name of that village is Miasamura, which is translated to beautiful hemp village.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I visited there. Then I started to see the hemp has been growing there for a long, long time, and then it's been in the culture. Then I started to hear about the relation between the Shintoism and the hemp at the time. So I went to visit many shrines, and then every shrine that I visit, I see hemp fibers. So
They have
that's their.
bundles of hemp fiber and these white lightning bolt like shapes that are also made from hemp, decorating all the temples and shrines throughout Japan.
Yeah, exactly. And also, just as it is, like this shape, excuse me, this is the one I made, but they hang
Okay,
like this too.
I
Yeah,
see.
yeah, and also it's they use it for how do you say purifying you, like with the this hemp fiber, you shake on your head like not like this, but you put on the top of the some bar, and you shake on your head
Uh,
in order to purify yourself.
oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
All
So,
right. Yeah. That's the thing.
uh, and so, how did you come to found the Japan Hemp Association?
Okay. So yeah, it was before I really know about the relation between Shintoism and the hemp. So it was more for the aspect of environmental impact. So
Yeah,
yeah, I talked to my friends, and then at the time I was living in the van, living in the car, and traveling all around Japan. So I visited the small shops and so everywhere in Japan. Then we made a excuse me. I'll show you one thing. We made some flyer like this.
uh-huh.
So I started to put this at the small shops all around Japan. Yeah, then people came to be members of that. Was how Japan Hemp Association was created at the time.
I see. When was that?
It's a it's a 97, 98, 97 maybe 97 I think. Yeah.
There's a hemp museum somewhere in Japan, isn't there? Or at least there used to be.
Then run by local people in Nagano Prefecture, where I talked about before. I mentioned about before, and another one is quite new, like big one in Tochigi Prefecture, where most of the Japanese hemp are growing. So yeah, one is very local one, and one is founded by one guy. who's very much interested in the hemp.
So hemp was legal in Japan until 1945. I remember it was Douglas MacArthur, actually, the
Yeah,
American general, who
yeah,
prohibited hemp at first.
yeah.
And I
See, too.
recall at the International Hemp Environmental Forum there in 2016 that we were greatly honored with the presence of the Japanese Prime Minister's wife, the First Lady of Japan. Sadly, the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated here in the past year. I guess one of the few or only gun murder here this year in
Yeah,
Japan. So his
yeah,
wife
indeed.
survives him. But I remember that at that conference, she said, as I had known, that the United States prohibited hemp primarily to help the uh, oil companies in our and those things. Do you remember that talk?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Sure.
So I know that it's been strongly prohibited, and it's not really as common there, except in the Shinto temples. And so tell us about how they're able to produce the hemp for the Shinto temple use there.
Okay. Very traditional way. We use two. Uh, this one,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
okay, and then put the fiber on this. This is already when it's
Right.
when it's
Stem.
yeah, with the put like this, and then take the how do you say, there's the surface out this way. So with that, you can get golden fiber like this.
The golden
So
bast fiber.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's a length like 1.5 meter or something like that. It's a very long one.
Right. I
Yeah.
bought an ornament at the temple on the last day of the Hemp International Environmental Forum from a young man who produces those. I know his name starts with SH, but he had a booth there.
Hmm.
So I buy one of his ornaments. And I know he teaches classes on how to make them as well to a lot of different people.
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember that. But let's talk a little bit about how it's produced for the temples in terms of it's illegal to grow, but isn't it true that one company licenses farmers and collects the hemp? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, it's a, it's a to grow hemp without license. So that I used to have a growing license too when it was
Uh-huh.
2000 to 2003. I used to have a license. That's why I grow hemp, and I used to make hemp fiber, as I showed you before. It was made by me, and yeah, there is one company who's got a license recently, as a very very rare case, because there are only 23 now, 23 people holding licenses, and then there hasn't been a new one after I've got a license in 2000. So it's very rare case that they've got a license 5 years ago now. Yeah, and then they've learned a way to make hemp fiber from the farmer in Tochigi, where most of the hemp growers are. And then now they're supplying the hemp fibers to several shrines now, because shrines, many shrines nowadays they are using Chinese hemp fiber, or
Okay.
yeah, even some shrines they use nylon, the vinyl made out
Oh,
of oil. So it's not
wow.
secret at all that what they are doing. So
No,
yeah, so that this company is educating those shrines too.
I see.
Yeah.
And tell us more about the family that produces the hemp for the emperor and how that hemp is used in the coronation of the new emperor. I know in 2019, I saw shared several television programs about the harvest it's on the island of Hokkaido, I believe, the northern island where the the emperor's hemp is grown.
The place where they grow for emperor is in Shikoku Island, which is
Huh.
little west southwest. There is a big island called Shikoku,
Okay.
and then that yeah that's the uh,
We're kind of losing you right now. Your internet froze up there.
okay, so
It's working again now.
it's working.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so it's in Shikoku Island
Huh.
where Imbe originally came from.
I see. And how do they produce it, and how is it harvested for uh, sacred purposes?
They don't they don't grow every year. Just their year emperor changes, so they don't have they need to make hemp fibers and that
Oh,
plant. So that's why the farmers that I've learned from went there to teach them. Every time they change the emperor, they went there to teach them. I mean, they train them, and then yeah, and then they make it the same way as I showed you before.
yeah, the traditional hand process.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do you can you tell us exactly how it's used by the emperor and his household?
Yeah, Mr. Mickey, the chief of Imbeculan, told us at the Kyoto Hemp Forum too that it's really, really top secret that nobody can tell. But he said, yeah, after they use that, they will have to burn it. That's
Yeah,
what, yeah, he mentioned at that time.
yeah, that's what I heard too.
Mm,
That after it's used, it can only be used once, and then it's burned. But
yeah.
it's used in the rice ceremony, I think, that the emperor has to perform during his coronation when he's first starting his reign.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. What do you mean?
Oh, I mean that the hemp is used in the rice ceremony, I think it's called. Uh, when the emperor is coronated, when he first starts, the emperor has to use this in several ceremonies, and then it's burned.
How I heard is they use just once. Yeah, with the rice. I mean the no rice. Sorry, that with silk. They prepare silk and then hemp in a small room where emperor stays for a night. So hemp fabric and the silk fabric they prepare, and then yeah, how I heard is that the emperor eat small things, many things for God, and then after that it's secret. So we don't know what he's doing there.
I see. That's fascinating. I find it very, very interesting.
Mm.
So, tell me how you came to organize the first environmental hemp forum there in Kyoto.
Okay, how okay. The first idea was hemp Earth Day which was held at the same time in Kamigamo Shrine. We've been together over there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in Kyoto.
yeah. It was the first idea to make an event like this, and then we started to think about the, since that's a concern with the environmental goodness, and then it's not only about Japan; it's more for the world. So then I got connected with the Nair in US,
Yeah,
and then we start to talk about that.
Jane.
Yeah, Nair Harding.
Now
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Arizona.
Then yeah, then she started to introduce me some people like including you and other people like big hemp players. Yeah, so yeah, as very well that we started to connect on the messenger on Facebook. Yeah, that's how the connection has been made. Yeah, then yeah, started to think about the forum itself at the same time with the Hemp Earth Day. That's how it made it. Yeah.
So was that in a previous year? I know the environmental forum in Kyoto was in 2016.
Yeah.
So did you start planning it in 2015, or was it in Earth Day of 2016? It had to have been before that year, I think.
Yeah, in fact, the connection was has been made, started to be made in January 2016. So that's the time that we started to talk about the forum itself.
Right.
So yeah, it's been prepared in just half a year.
How did it come that Akie Abe, the prime minister's wife, came to visit there?
There was one guy who was the MC at the time of that panel discussion. Yeah, he's a journalist, and then he introduced us, Mrs. Abe, to us, and we knew that Mrs. Abe has been interested in the hemp, but then he's the one connected with us to her.
Uh-huh. How is it that she came to talk? You reached her and she said yes?
Yeah, I mean, I was amazed. I've never expected like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's a first lady for Japan, and I've never expected there's such a person come to talk in our event on the stage. So I was really amazed, and yeah, a big honor.
Yeah, you also had the mayor of Kyoto
Yeah,
and the head of the shrine there that we went to
yeah,
on the same panel.
yes.
Can you tell us what the panel? I know you have video somewhere.
Yeah.
What was it that the first lady said during her talk?
She said the hemp is something to connect heaven and people. Was a yeah, big word that I heard from her. Yeah, and then yeah, she said hemp has been illegal, banned by the GHQ, as you mentioned before, exactly.
The United
Yeah,
States occupying forces.
yeah, and she said it's now it's time to change such a all the style that we should start to grow and also use it for some sickness to cure and things like that. Yeah, remember?
I know that her husband suffered from ulcerative colitis, which he had been prime minister first for about a year and a half. Then he resigned because of his illness, but he came back when we were there. He was during the long period of his, but then again, he quit because of his illness.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because his party lost power or anything, but it's because of the ulcerative colitis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think cannabis helped him?
Yeah, she said at the time uh, only only one politician was coming to his hospital room, who's advocate for cannabis, medical cannabis. She didn't say she used cannabis as a medical, but she said she especially mentioned about that there was one politician advocate who's advocate for medical cannabis was coming to his room in the hospital. So it means something. I thought. I mean, we felt.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then she looked at the medicines there. There were several medicines. I know Paul Benham's Elixir company had some cannabis medicines there, didn't he? And
Yeah,
she
yeah.
showed great interest in that.
Yeah, she bought yeah, CBD of Elixnol at the time. She brought it back to her home.
Yeah. So I want to congratulate you again, even though it's been 6 years, on such a groundbreaking event. And we have been talking. Did you want to say something?
No, no, no. I mean yeah. I wanted to say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
thanks to Olive in Thailand. Yeah, she really pushed that to her friends and her team. So she's the one who made it as a second IHEF over there in Thailand. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah,
So
appreciate so much. Yeah.
had something to do with the next one that starts later this month. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The IHEF second will be held at the end of this month, November, yeah, until yeah, December the 1st,
Uh-huh.
inside the expo as Asian International Hemp Expo 2022.
And so Akie Abe helped get this going. Is that what you said?
No, no, not really.
No. Okay. But you did. You were definitely working to get it going. I know we talked about having a second one back in Canada a few years back. That didn't come to fruition. I talked about having one here in Portland back about
Yeah,
18,
sorry.
24, several years ago. But finally, the group
Yeah, finally.
team, Olivia,
Exactly.
who was there in Kyoto in 2016 with her hemp products from Thailand, she helped get it going with the group in Bangkok.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then yeah, I apologize you that you helped me a lot at the time for that we were watching her. We were looking for the possibility to do that in Canada. But although you helped me a lot, but sorry, I failed it at that time.
It's okay. We always keep trying, and
Yeah.
the price of success is failure. That's it. You fail and you fail and then you do it, and you've done it now again with
Yeah.
this new Thai team. Do you want to tell us about the upcoming second International Hemp Forum in Bangkok?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's a yeah big honor again. That it's a great thing that yeah. I mean, as you said, we've been looking for the first thing that the first uh yeah. I mean, we've been trying to make it in Kenya first, right? Then started to try Canada, and then now finally we are going to make it in Bangkok, and then it's a first hemp event in Asia, and then as you know, Thailand has legalized the medical cannabis and also industrial hemp this year. It's a big thing, and so yeah, there will be more delegates from more countries coming to Bangkok this time than time of Kyoto Hemp Forum. It's 25 people from 15 countries or I'm not sure about the number yet, but yeah, so it's gonna be much more people gathering together, including you. Thank you very much to accept. Yeah, and yeah, so it's gonna be a great thing. Yeah, so
Truckers back as well. Been
yeah,
the world's largest hemp company, Hemp Flax, in the
yeah,
Netherlands, and his very famous seed company, Cincy Seeds,
yeah, yeah. My
and
mentor is
who lives in Thailand, has arranged for us to have this nice villa for several days
yeah,
after the forum. So that'll be great fun.
yeah, yeah. Let's party there.
Yeah. So how if somebody wants to reach out to you, how do they try to contact you?
uh, you mean my email address or something that?
Yeah, your email
Okay,
address, our website, anything like that.
okay,
Social media site.
okay. Thank you. My email address is Takashi at ham slash innovation dot jp. Takashi Takashi at ham slash not slash what do you say
Dash.
dash
All
okay
right. Yeah,
dash
dash.
dash innovation dot jp, and you can check Japan Hemp Association on Facebook too. There are many pictures that I was trying to explain you about the method to make hemp fiber, but you can see over there with the pictures. You check Japan Hemp Association on Facebook too.
Okay. Tell us about Hemp Innovation. That's a company that you're working with there, isn't it?
Yes, there. Yeah, there are two hemp innovation. In fact, yeah, one is Hemp Innovation LLC, which I myself founded 2016, and in fact, that company we visited the hemp flux in Holland.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing pictures.
Yeah, yeah. So introduced one Japanese company to hemp flux, and then now they are dealing together. They made a contract, and this Japanese company has got a yeah, trying to sell hemp flax's products in Japan, and also I mean we've tried to sell some hemp seeds too, but couldn't really go out. And the other one, Hemp Innovation Limited, the company, which we founded February in February this year with with my friends. Also, there is a one of the director is the chairman of another company which has got a license for growing hemp that you talked about before. So yeah, that company has a license to grow hemp and supplying hemp fibers to shrines. So we are now working together, and this man is named Mr. Matsumoto, or I mean, we call him as Shingo. Shingo is coming to second IHEF to be on their stage, so we will meet him too. You will meet him too at the time.
And so he is going to be on one of the panels at the end of the first
Yeah,
day with you. And
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about, tell us what you're going to talk about.
Uh, okay. Yeah, with him, we will talk about the golden hemp. I mean the hemp fiber as we've talked before,
Yeah,
like
like
this fiber. Yeah, and then maybe a history about that as we just have talked. And yeah, and yeah, he's gonna talk about more details about the Shintoism and things that he knows well. Yeah, he's working with some professor of university who's educating the preachers of their Shintoist shrines. So yeah, it's gonna get a little deeper in there.
Good. I look forward to listening to that. And I know they'll have a good translation system for us to listen in English. There was a professor, a Western professor that was from a hemp university, I believe, that was there in 2016. I think his name might have been Patrick. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Hemp University?
Harvard
Hemp University.
University. He was there in Kyoto. Uh,
Okay, okay. Not from Hemp University, but yeah. He's a doctor. Patrick. That's right. Patrick Collins.
Patrick
Yeah,
Collins.
yeah. He's more for, I think, more for like space technology or something like that. He's got a, yeah. He's originally from Britain and live in Japan and teach and as a professor of yeah, in university in Japan. That's right. But he's very much interested in the hemp, and then he's been searching, making a research for that for a while by now.
I see. I see. Are there any other developments in Japan from the First International Hemp Environmental Forum?
Yeah, now we are facing a very big change. Yeah, good thing that you got at this one on that topic. Thank you very much. Yeah, now they are making they are amending the law. It's going to happen next year, very soon, like next spring. They will change the law as and then it will be in how do you say work 2024 the first in January. How they change it is how they amend it is that I mean it's been in Japan the low THC hemp and then high THC cannabis has been not differentiated, but they've been controlled under the same law called the Cannabis Control Law, which GHQ has forced Japan to make. So that's why the species called hemp as USDA defined like a 0. How much 0.3 lower than 0.
0.03. Yeah.
Yeah. So they define that species. They call it hemp, and then more than that, they will call it as a cannabis or something like that. Was it like that? Yeah. So it's been there. It's been those both controlled under the same law in Japan, but now they will change it. They will loosen. They will they will loosen. You say they
Yeah.
make it easy for growing hemp, but they will make more little strict to cannabis. So to grow hemp or cannabis, whichever. They're either high THC or low THC. It's been very strict, controlled as you need like 2 meters high fence and with some cameras watching it always, type of thing that it's been very strict. And also there was a license system. There is a license system, but it's a as a reality, it's been not really possible to get licensed except a very rare case of my friend's company. I used to have that too, but it was very hard to get the license. And then also, even when you have a license, the purpose of using that hemp was very limited as
What did you have to do with your hemp when you grew hemp? Did it go to the shrine?
yeah, mostly only for traditional usage that it's been allowed, not for general industry or some other purposes was not really permitted. I mean, it's not in law, but they've been controlling like that from the government. But nowadays, I mean, after that, after changing the law, next year it will be much easier to grow hemp for industrial usage too.
Good, good.
But on the other hand, they will, I mean, they will make smoking cannabis become illegal. It's been not illegal in Japan.
Ah, so it hasn't
Yeah,
been illegal and now they're going to make it illegal?
yeah, they're gonna make it illegal. I mean, possessing and growing has been illegal. Whatever, I mean, whichever low THC or high THC
Uh-huh.
now, but now they're changing it, and so the smoking or intaking you in your system will be illegal from 2024. That's a
It's kind of a step back.
yeah. For industrial side, step up, but for that medical side, or how can I say, the cannabis side, they will get the step.
We
Yeah.
call it, but some could call it social use. What about medical? Is medical treated any differently? I know there's Elixinol, which is CBD. CBD products are legal?
It's illegal. I mean, it's legal now. I mean, in the current law, it's prohibited to. I mean, it's prohibited hemp, but except stem and the products from stem, also seed and the products from seed. They're like exception. They are not controlled by law. So when that CBD is made from stem or seed, it's legal to be dealing in Japan. It's a I don't know if that thing really exists, but by law it's like that. So many CBD products are in the market in Japan right now.
I see. So you can buy CBD products. Are
Yeah.
they imported or are they made from Japanese hemp?
No, as I said, it's very strictly prohibited to use a hemp product or other than traditional usage here in Japan. So now with this current law, it's impossible to make CBD from a Japanese hemp. So all of the products right now in the market are all imported from somewhere abroad.
I see. I see. So, what about medicinal use? Is that still prohibited as well? Are patients being punished for using cannabis products?
Sorry, I couldn't
I,
get the first word.
so, with medical use, is that being
Uh-huh.
punished too?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. When you do a medical use, you need to possess. So that's illegal to do.
Unless it's imported CBD products.
Yeah, but only from stem or seed, not from the flower or leaves or other parts.
I see. I see. Okay. So, in terms of your company, do you have any plans to grow again or to produce products from seeds or stems?
Yes, I mean, since the law will change in a few years now, we plan to grow in Japan too for industrial usage. So we are looking for the market. When there will be market, there will be an investment to start growing hemp, and also maybe a prior how do you say some factory to make. But yeah, we are now seriously looking for the market. If really, if there's some industrial people really has got a demand for that.
Do you have any plans in tying with the people in Thailand and working with them in any way to help your industry there?
Yes, in fact, we were going to make a MOU with one CBD company in Japan. I mean, in Thailand. We'll be visiting them right before IHEF, second IHEF in Chiang Mai.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the work that's going on there that I've forgotten to ask about or anything?
No, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be a. It's gonna. How can I say? Sorry, I'm not so good. It's gonna. It's gonna be great that the Thailand event, the Asia International Hemp Expo 2022. There will be many booths there, not only from Thailand but from all over the world, and also finally we are going to make a second IHEF as we've been really looking for 6 years now, and there will be many people from all over the world, and you can know what's the situation for all over the world. And so as making success with the hemp industry will make a better world. I mean, environmentally and also in the health aspect of humans too. So yeah, please come. I mean, please come to join us and then see the what's going on in the world regarding hemp. So that's what I want to say.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on our show.
I really appreciate you. There, yeah.
It's been my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you
So
very much.
we've had Takashi Okanuma in Japan, the founder of the Japan Hemp Association and the current auditor of that organization, and also working with hemp innovation there in Chao. We're preparing for the second International Hemp Environmental Forum in Bangkok, Thailand, starting the 30th of this month, November, to I think it goes through the 3rd. The forum is the 30th and the 1st, but they'll have exhibits and some other things up until the 3rd. Well, I look forward to seeing you there. I look forward to going there too. Thanks for working on that. Thanks for coming on our show, Takashi.
Thank you very much, and yeah, looking forward to meeting you again. Yeah, after 6 years.
Me too. Me too. Thank you, sir. All right. Well, you have a good day there, and keep working to restore hemp.
You restore hemp. Yeah, restore hemp.